days. After all, Beirut is only a 20-minute flight from Larnaca. The drive from here to the airport takes longer. My passport has a stamp from Ben Gurion Airport in Israel, so that probably won't work for me. Rashid is thinking about flying to Tel Aviv and then making his way to the West Bank, since he has never been there before. As a veteran traveler to the West Bank and Israel, and with experience passing through Ben Gurion Airport more than once, I try to give him advice. The main problem is that Ben Gurion usually does not allow Muslim Arabs to pass through the airport. Rashid is from Algeria, but has spent most of his life in the UK, and has a British accent and a British passport. As we jog through the park, and past the waterfowl along the lake behind the reservoir, we try to decide whether he should try and use his BBC press pass. I know, he says. I can pass myself off as an Arab Jew. Yeah, I panned back. You look like many Sephardic Jews I have seen in Israel. You could claim that you left Algeria for London because you were part of a persecuted minority, pant. You were raised as an agnostic Jew. Now you are coming to Israel to get in touch with your Jewish heritage, pant. Once you get past customs, you can take a group taxi to Jerusalem, and I can put you in touch with contacts who work for the International Solidarity Movement. They can put you in touch with contacts in the West Bank. Once you are inside, you can do whatever you want. Rashid is ecstatic at the prospect. We finish our jog and shower down in the dorm. We wind up in the kitchen for breakfast and explain our elaborate plan to Tom. It sounds interesting, he remarks. The only problem with your plan is that your passport gives your name as Rashid. What kind of a Jewish name is that? Rashid decides to rethink this whole plan and ends up not flying to Tel Aviv. He winds up exploring the Turkish side of Cyprus for a few days instead. I can't go too far because I need to spend the better part of this week stocking the boat with medical supplies to be able to treat ourselves in case we are attacked. The only good part about this delay is that we get to watch some of the Beijing Olympics, which we would have missed entirely had our mission been on schedule. I enjoy the Greek language coverage from Cyprus. We get to see a balance of the world's best athletes from around the world, not just the Americans, which is more typical when you watch Olympic coverage in the USA. One person who doesn't have enough time to watch much of the Olympics is Greta Berlin. One of the main original organizers, Greta is now head of the media team. Like Osama, Paul, and Bella back in Greece, she is becoming exhausted from not getting enough sleep. Her phone is ringing incessantly, and she still receives anonymous death threats that unsettle the nerves. Her dorm room is like Grand Central Station, since she has one of the few laptops that is hooked up to the internet. The college campus technicians who arrange internet hookup here at the university are all on their August vacation, so late arrivals like me are stuck. Greta tries to take fitful naps in her dorm room, while others are taking turns at her desk working off her laptop at all hours of the night and day checking their email accounts. Greta, along with Hedy and others, is doing multiple press conferences and radio interviews every day, and arranging other interviews for the rest of us. The temperature is over 40 degrees C, over 100 degrees F, and there is no air conditioning. She is in an awkward spot in terms of maintaining her credibility with the media, because the world press wants accurate specific information about when the Free Gaza movement boats will be leaving Cyprus for Gaza, but this is precisely the kind of information that must be kept fuzzy for a variety of logistical and security reasons. Hedy Epstein is also working overtime, with wall-to-wall press interviews, keeping up a very hectic pace for an almost 84-year-old woman. I don't think she is getting enough rest, though. But as a Holocaust survivor who worked at the Nuremberg trials, with long-standing public record promoting human rights, she is an obvious media focus for our campaign. Mary Hughes has been burning the midnight oil working as the chief financial officer among the boat passengers in the middle of the current financial crisis of the Free Gaza movement. She has been at her laptop for hours helping Greta write urgent appeals for financial help and circulating them far and wide. After a lot of airplane rides, classroom workshops and sitting in front of computers, she has developed swelling in her legs that she has never had before. I'm helping her address that from a medical standpoint. On Hedda's 84th birthday, we finally declare a day off for Greta, Hedy, Mary, and Kathleen Wang. I agree to go with them into central Nicosia and then cross the barrier to the Turkish side. We will try to make it all the way to the northern coast to take a swim and then make it back across the barrier to the Greek side before sunset, so we can celebrate Hedy's birthday at the university with the rest of our passenger colleagues. What these women don't fully realize is that I'm the world's champion for wild goose chases. I'm a travel junkie who relishes finding my way amidst disorientation and confusion. I love traveling on the edge, and I don't know when to stop. I'm traveling with 4 older women who move at various speeds. None of us has really explored the Turkish Cypriot side before beyond immediate downtown Nicosia, and none of us speaks a word of Turkish. It's a good thing these 4 don't talk to my wife, because she would warn of winter adventures in remote areas of Montana in futile pursuit of ghost towns. She could recount the time I got the sub stuck in the snow with the sun setting, the temperature dropping, and no one around to help. It was just an unfortunate coincidence that happened twice in a week. Some would claim I don't learn. I'm sure that we don't need to worry about snow here in Cyprus in August. We make it to downtown Nicosia by taxi. We see ancient walls of the old city, built by the Crusaders and later the Ottomans in the 1500s with moat and all. They look just like the stone walls around Old Jerusalem. It's quiet because everything is closed in observance of a Christian holiday honoring the date of Virgin Mary's death. Within the walls of the old city, we approach another more ominous and modern barrier that looks like the old Berlin Wall. It has spooky, largely abandoned neighborhoods on both the Greek and Turkish sides, where artillery exchanges have occurred, and people have died in the not too distant past. We take pictures until we reach the signs that say no photographs. We stop for soft drinks at a cafe on the Greek side with the wall behind it. It is aptly named Checkpoint Charlie 2 in reference to its Berlin Wall namesake, but it's more relaxed. I don't know how it works for the Greek and the Turk Cypriots, but it is easy for tourists to cross back and forth through the main checkpoint at the end of the main pedestrian shopping street on the Greek side of Old Nicosia. At the crossing, we show our passports to the Turkish guards, fill out a form, which is stamped, and voila. We pass through the barrier and enter the northern Turkish part of Nicosia. All the signs are in Turkish and the Turkish flag is flying. On the Muslim Turkish side there is no holiday, and it is business as usual. We walk up to the main mosque with its giant minaret. There is something very familiar about the architecture of this mosque. It has high Gothic arches, gargoyles, and posts for statues. This is not exactly typical of Islamic architecture. This mosque was once a Catholic cathedral built by the Venetians and then converted into a mosque by the Ottoman Turks when they took over in the 1500s. This kind of Christian architecture is distinct from the Eastern Orthodox churches that we see all over the southern part of the city. Cyprus has long been a crossroads and battleground for competing influences over the years. It is at the interface between 2 continents. In these respects, it is quite similar to Gaza, just more prosperous in these modern times, less crowded, and more endowed with natural beauty. We have lunch near the mosque, in air-conditioned surroundings, where we can rehydrate. Now it's time to find the bus station, so we can get to the coast for a swim. We have our tourist map and our know-how. We ask our waiter, who shows us the initial directions on our map. We venture out, and after several blocks, we ask for directions again several times, and get several explanations in Turkish, a mixture of Turkish and English. We finally find the bus station, though we have walked much farther than some of us had anticipated. After a short wait, we board an overcrowded bus, and are on our way to the coastal town of Karanania. I'm loving it. I fear the 4 with me are starting to wonder if they made the right decision. We cross over the northern coastal mountains, which separate the central Cypriot basin from the coast, and then head down to the beach. After another bus change, we think we are on our way to a beautiful beach that we have never heard of before. The bus winds its way through coastal neighborhoods, and I'm not so sure we are on the right track. First we head east, and then head west. The bus driver lets us off at the luxury tourist resort beach, which is just short of the public beach where we wanted to go. But we are confused, and don't know better, so we get off. It costs €20 each to gain access to the beach. We have been trying to keep our costs down, which is why we took the buses instead of a taxi. But we also are tired, overheated, and need to swim, so we negotiate a lower price, since it is late in the day. The swimming is divine with aquamarine waters and an island with coral reefs that you can swim around. Hedy recently took swimming lessons back in St. Louis, so she would be ready to be on the FG boats. She gets to practice more here. On the peak above us, there is a giant memorial that looks like the nationalistic style of similar memorials of the former Soviet Empire. But this one commemorates where forces from the Turkish mainland hit this beach for the first time during the 1974 Cypriot Civil War. After about 19 minutes on the beach, we take the bus back to Karenaya, and then take another bus back to Nicosia. Hedy receives a call from our colleagues back in Nicosia, who are wondering about our whereabouts, and she reassures them that we all are okay. The bus back to Nicosia is not as crowded. We cross the coastal mountain pass, and down the south-facing mountainside toward the Greek side of Cyprus. This mountainside sports a huge illuminated Turkish Cypriot flag that seems intended to taunt the Greeks who can see it every night. Our bus driver drops us off in a neighborhood that is closer to the crossing than the main bus station. Unfortunately, we have never been here before, and we are lost. We ask for directions to the crossing in our English-Turkish pantomime. One boy directs us to the west. Another man directs us to the east. Now what? Now the sun is going down, and it is becoming dark. Well, the sun sets in the west, so let's go south and we are sure to run into the barrier, I say. After negotiating through a few poor and crowded Turkish neighborhoods, we find the barrier. There is a wide swath of no man's land, and we can see neon signs in Greek on the other side. Now what? Where is the crossing? We have differences of opinion within our group about whether we should proceed east or west. I run ahead to the east and run into a guard post staffed by nervous Turkish Cypriot soldiers, who after determining that I'm not a threat to them, direct me to the west. After more walking, we finally find a crossing, but it is not the same crossing we used this afternoon. Once we finally get back to the Greek side, we call a taxi that gets us back to the University of Cyprus a full 2 hours behind schedule. Dinner has already been served, but we are just in time for Hedy's birthday cake. Happy birthday, Hedy. You have just survived one of Dr. Bill's wild adventures. Petros Giatis. Aboard Aegeus Nikolaos somewhere along the north coast of Crete. Wednesday, the 13th of August. Today we really need to get going. No reason for any further delay. There's been a very good press conference at the pier, right in front of the two boats, which turned into a political solidarity event, in which dozens of progressive people from Chechnya, as well as many Arab immigrants, participated. The boats are ready. The captains are both professional. And the most important reason for moving now is that we've been informed that the Greek Foreign Ministry, which doesn't hesitate to show its pro-American, pro-Israeli face, has intervened with the Ministry of Maritime Affairs, asking it to sabotage our journey. It can use a very simple way. A technical check of the boats can keep us in limbo in Chechnya for up to 2 weeks, meaning that the already delayed mission will get way out of schedule. That would increase the chance of it being cancelled or weakened to such a degree that the Zionists could stop us somewhere between Cyprus and Gaza. The weather seems to be an obstacle to our cause too. At this time of the year, the westerly and northwesterly winds blow. The forecast shows increasing gale force winds in the southern Aegean for the next few days. Giagas, Marcus, and Vangelis, who also have maritime experience, believe that we really have to leave Chechnya just in case a problem of check and delay comes up. We are at the western end of Crete, and we must reach the eastern end, where we then turn on a southeastern heading towards Cyprus. Why waste time then? Let's travel along the northern Cretan coast all the way to Siscia, the far eastern city of Crete. There, we can reconsider the weather, and, when given the chance, we can sail to Cyprus. Yes, we can.